Good morning, everybody. Welcome to a wonderful Tuesday morning of Chem 1105 with your host, me, Dr. White. And by the way, we're commercial free. Well, I don't know. Do I have anything to sell? No, we're commercial free. All right. I hope you all had a great 4th of July holiday. Uh, Friday, I got a lot of stress off my heart. How? Well, I had the tree trimmers out. If you ever need a company to trim or cut down trees, they did both. This company was fantastic. Email me and I'll send you the contact information. One of the things that was high stress, I had this on my front, huge tree in my front lawn. There was this huge, maybe that diameter limb that had died, and it was like 15 feet, and it was close to my neighbor's house. And if they didn't do it right, it would damage their house. And I watched them, and they were very good. And how do you spell relief? It's done. So Dr. White's a happy camper. Plus, I had a lot of fun grading tests and labs, but we'll be doing that. All right, today's game plan. One, it's a Tuesday, even though it feels like a Monday. So it's lab day. But first, I'm going to go through the answers of test one. Thank you all for studying hard for test one. I think the class average was somewhere around 90 or 91. Yeah, the average. So I'm happy because you did well, which makes me real happy. Like I said, I'm very selfish. I like to see students succeed because it makes me happy. All right, we'll go through test number one, and I've changed something a little, and that is I was going to go through chapter four problem set, but we'll do that tomorrow. We got plenty of time. We're right on track. And listen carefully. The reason I go through the test answers is no student should ever be penalized for a mistake I make. No student should ever be penalized for a mistake I make. Therefore, watch and check the answers. Now, I will cut this out of the video. I like that. Cut that out of the video, but come to my office hours anytime or after lab, and I'll go over any question. Now, when I go over the test now, please don't ask why did you take off 1 point or two here. See me in private. I do that the same thing if we were face to face. And make sure one of the biggest mistakes I usually make on a test, it's supposed to be a 4 point, and I only give you three because it was correct. That's my mistake. Email me and I'll correct it. All right, there are two versions, A and C, and they're almost identical except for a few problems, and you'll see me switch back and forth. The problems were essentially identical, but Dr. White was sneaky, and I changed some of the numbers on one version from the other. And that's just the way I do it. And if we were face to face, I do the same thing. All right, let's get started. Any questions? Remember, if I made a mistake grading your test, email me it. You should never, ever be penalized for a mistake I make. Never. And therefore, let me know, and I will see if I really did make a mistake, or if you have any questions on grading, I will change it. All right. Anybody have any questions? I'd have a question if I were you, and that is, what grade am I getting in this class now? Well, assuming you've handed in all the labs, and a few of you get the labs in. There's a lab due today, the one we did on Thursday. Did anybody think about when you watch fireworks? I hope you got to see some nice ones. I can just go out my front lawn and watch for my village fireworks because it's far enough away, but still close enough. I can just sit there, my neighbors do too, and watch the fireworks. And I'm sure in my village, I'm the only one who was some, no, you're not, you wouldn't be in this district. I'm not in DuPage, but anyways, I'm in Cook. I was probably the only one thinking those electrons were moving shell to shell and then coming back and giving off energy, which is the light. But anyways, back to your grade. Assuming you've handed in all the labs, and most of you have done quite well in the labs, what grade are you getting? Well, if you look at my syllabus, test one, or any test, or just in general, 90, excuse me, 90 to 100, A, 80 to 89, B, 70 to 79, C, 60 to 69, D, below 60, F. However, whatever you got on this test, every one of you can still get an A in this class. What? Yep, look at my grading. I dropped the lowest test. Now, hopefully this wasn't your lowest test, but if it is, you still can do that. And remember, I think it's a week from this Thursday is test two, and I'll speak more about it tomorrow, test two. The answer is no. Jakub, no, I don't drop the final. It's of the 4 hourly exams. However, because of the way I do my final in here, everybody take a deep breath, do it again, let it out, keep on breathing, relax. For 1105, my final is only 100 points. For 1211, it's 200 points out of 600. Here it's only 100 out of 530 something. So it's not as bad as it could be. I don't know about bad, but doesn't affect your grade as other classes I teach. And time for when I was your age, thing from Dr. White. And when I was your age, I went to undergrad IIT, most classes only had 2 tests. They weren't tests, a midterm and a final. And depending on the class, the midterm was 40%, the final was 60% of your grade. That was not a good time finals week. Or the midterm was 50% of your grade and the final was 50%. And that wasn't a good time either. Yep. By the way, where I went IIT, and this is back a long time ago, all men's average for the school was 2.3 out of 4. I had about a 3.5 out of 4, which is considered stellar at IIT. They didn't have grade inflation like we now have. And I didn't even send out my GREs, graduate record exams, and I was accepted to Northwestern, University of Chicago. I went to Michigan State and a few other schools, just based on where I was going, my GPA, because it was so phenomenally high, especially in chemistry, it was actually higher. But so relax on the final. Students in my final, usually about 70% or higher get A's on the final if you studied and do the practice problems. And if you look at the syllabus, we will have about three or 4 days, I think at least 3 days of review with me of the whole semester. And that always helps my students do good on the final, because I know you got a couple hours of review with me. All right, any questions? And yeah, final and midterms, certain classes were, how should I say, a stressful time of my life. What was even worse, your grades were mailed to you. Some professors would post the scores outside their doors, but a lot didn't. And you had to wait about 2-3 weeks and you check the mail every day. Did my grades come? Then when that envelope, oh, not bad, or I only had one, and that was physics. I got a C. Every that was a class that I think 2/3 of the class got D's or F's. The teacher was the worst teacher I've ever had, and they fired him next semester. It didn't help me or everybody else, but anyways, all right. Today's going to be a quick day because I decided I think it's better for you work on chapter 4 problem set if you haven't done it already, and I'll do that tomorrow. Plus, we'll continue on with the material for test 2, which means, oh, I haven't done it all morning. It's lab time. And today's going to be a quick class because it's a quick lab. What's today's lab? How to do balanced chemical equations. Let me clean up something first. When I say clean up, close some files. All right. Files are closed. Let me share it with you. All right, thumbs up, people. Do you see balancing chemical equations lab on the screen? Thank you, Dina. All right, one of the most important skills you will learn in general chemistry is how to balance a chemical equation. And I will put at least three pointers, maybe 4, on test number 2. So this is a skill hint you should have. And what does that mean? Well, here's some practice for you. And you will be balancing the chemical equations on the next 2 pages and submit them to assignment area Blackboard for this lab. It's due Thursday. Now, here are the problems, and you can write underneath or over here the balanced chemical equation when you're done. Now, on a test, when I'd ask you to balance a chemical equation, you would. You'll always have to. But on this one, at least 1, maybe 2, possibly 3 are already balanced. It's good practice in real life to check that. Now, let's go through some important things about chemical equations. Everybody see the fancy chemical equation, A plus B goes to C? Thumbs up, people. Thank you. All right, you should know at the base of the arrow, these are the reactants. And in class, I will call them often. Because in industry, which I spent most of my adult life in, we call them starting materials. At the head of the arrow, this is always called the product, or if there's more than one, products. If you have more than one chemical reacting or you're making, you use the plus sign. Think of that as the and. So that'd be A and B react to make C. Now, when you're balancing a chemical equation, you should have the same number and same type of atoms on each side. If you notice here, I have 2 oxygen, here I have 1. You cannot change the chemical formula. I'll even write it down. but you can change the number in front called the coefficient. I think I spelled it. Versus the E come before the I, and that you can. So if I need 2 oxygen, I put a 2 there, and now I have 2 oxygen. But now 2 times 2, I have 4 hydrogen. I only have 2 here, so again, I can change the coefficient, and I have 4 hydrogen. And now I'll look at this and say 4 hydrogen, 4 hydrogen, 2 oxygen, 2 oxygen. It's balanced, and I'm done. Now, I have an advice for you. When you're balancing a chemical equation, always leave hydrogen and oxygen last. Do the other elements first. And I'll let you try this one. Why don't you balance this chemical equation? Leave hydrogen, oxygen for last. Your turn. And when you're done, give me a thumbs up. I'll give you another 15 seconds. Then I'll show you how to do this. All right, let's do it. This is not balanced because if you look here, 3 carbon, 1 carbon. So if I have 3 carbon here, how do I get 3 carbon here? Can't change this, but I can change the coefficient. And guess what? I now have 3 carbons. Well, the only thing left is hydrogen and oxygen. So I'm going to do hydrogen because I'm going this way. You could have done oxygen too, but I have 8 hydrogen. Oh no, I only have two. How do I get that to 8? I can't change the 2, but I can change the coefficient. And 4 times 2 is 8 hydrogen. And here I have 2 oxygen. How many on this side? Remember, it's the sum of all atoms on each side. So in this one, I have 3 times 2, 6 oxygen, plus 4 times 1, 4 oxygen. Add them together. Make sure I check my math. I think I did it right. If not, one of you better, like all of you, tell me. I have 10 oxygen. But how do I get 10 oxygen there? I put a 5 there. So one propane, excuse me, reacts with 5 oxygen to give 3 carbon dioxide and 4 water. And that's how you balance it. Again, my advice to you, make sure you can do it the other way, but it can get pretty, how should I say, complex and time consuming. Leave hydrogen, oxygen last. Now, there's a situation I call even odd. Now, if we look at the following, iron reacts with oxygen to give ferric oxide, otherwise known as rust, which you don't want, but that's why they put coatings, paint on cars to protect the metal underneath from the oxygen. But you didn't know that. Also makes them look good too. Personal note from me, every car I've ever owned all my life has always been the same color. Whenever I buy a new car, friends and family ask, so you can get a different color? And the answer is no, I like that. And that's the metallic red that I like, not a fire engine red, a metallic red. I've had Oldsmobiles and Fords, and they've all had that color. All right, what's the even odd? If you notice here, oxygen has 2 oxygen on this side, but on this side, 3. And the coefficient always is a whole number. It's never a fraction, it's never a decimal. The coefficient, the number in front, is always a whole number, also known, you'll learn later on, exact number, never a fraction, never a decimal. So there's no way I can multiply 2 times a whole number to get 3. Same thing on this side. So what do? Well, what's the number that both 2 and 3 go into evenly or with whole numbers, no decimal or fraction? And multiply 2 times 3, and the answer is 6. So if I have 3 oxygen times 3 times 2, that's 6. How do I get 6 here? Put a 2 there. I've got 6. Now, how many iron do I have on this side? 2 times 2 is 4. And how do I get 4 iron on this side? Put a 4 there, 4 iron, 6 oxygen, 6 oxygen. It's done. And that's how you do even odd. And this lab gives you a lot of practice. Now, can everybody see the lab on their screen? Oh, maybe you can't. Yep. All right. Look after J. I don't have a number there. I should have. What is the sum of the coefficients in the balanced form of equation problem 1I? This one. This is not balanced. You got to balance it. It'll help me out. Add the coefficients. Remember, as you see here, 2 hydrogens, when there's no coefficient listed, it's actually the number 1. So here the sum of all coefficients would be 2 plus 1 plus 2 equal 5. And you should remember to do that because for some reason students forget to do that. Now, if you notice in the lab, both problem set 1 and there's a second one also, I copied some of these from the internet. Anyways, you'll see the letters S, G, and let's see if I can find one real quick. I can't. You might see the letter L. S stands for solid. Here's an L. L stands for liquid, and G stands for gas. Ignore them. They have nothing to do with balancing chemical equations. Again, ignore the letters in the brackets, but they stand for S solid, L liquid, G gas. And this is due on Thursday, the next lab period. And with that, it's a quick lab today. I'm done. And with that, I'm going to let you go. Don't forget, there's a lab due today, the moving electrons, shell to shell. Make sure you hand it in. Tomorrow, we'll go through chapter 4 problem set. We'll continue on with the mole and the mole concept. Tomorrow is an important Thursday. Let's see, tomorrow's, hold on, I gotta get my, wait, I'll look at the bottom. Oh, my computer tells me it's Tuesday. Therefore, tomorrow, Wednesday, and Thursday are important days of stuff I'm going to be covering. Don't miss lecture or watch the video. With that, I'm going to say, gehen gesund, be healthy. Goodbye.